The Silent Horizon, Part 1. The stars stretched endlessly across the black canvas of space, distant suns burning like scattered embers. Commander Aiden Cross sat in the captain's chair of the Odyssey, a deep space research vessel, staring at the unreadable silence beyond the viewport. Their mission was simple in theory: chart the unclaimed regions of Sector 9, a region that had long been avoided due to strange anomalies. For decades, no vessel had dared to cross its borders. Ships that entered never returned. But the Odyssey was different. State-of-the-art shielding, an AI that could predict spatial anomalies, and a crew of the Federation's best. Yet despite the hum of the ship and the constant flow of data across the consoles, there was something unnatural about the silence that pressed in from outside. Lieutenant Vega, the ship's navigator, broke the stillness. "Commander, we've picked up something. A signal." Aiden frowned. "From where?" Vega hesitated before replying. "From inside Sector 9. It's human. An old distress beacon. The code matches Earth's early colonization era. Over 200 years old." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. No one should still be alive out there, not after centuries. Aiden leaned forward, his voice steady but heavy. "Plot a course. Let's see who's been calling for help for 200 years.
The Silent Horizon, Part 2. The Odyssey pierced the invisible border of Sector 9 with a low shudder, as though space itself resisted their entry. Every system hummed at full capacity, the ship's shielding flickering faintly against unseen forces. Lieutenant Vega's hands danced across her console. Gravitational fluctuations are everywhere. It's like we're flying through a storm without rain. The AI, code-named Orion, spoke in its calm, toneless voice. "Warning, spatial distortions increasing. Probability of time dilation 64%. Aiden's jaw tightened. Time dilation. Days could pass on the ship while years slipped by outside. Or worse. Then it came again, the signal, a faint, rhythmic pulse, like a heartbeat echoing through the void. Only this time, it wasn't static. "Commander?" Vega said softly. "There's a voice attached to it." The bridge fell silent as the transmission played. The voice was distorted, stretched by centuries of interference, but undeniably human. "This is Captain Mara Ellison of the Pioneer. We are trapped. Time is broken here. If anyone hears this, don't come. For God's sake, don't—" The message cut off into static. Dr. Kieran, the ship's science officer, muttered under his breath. The Pioneer. That ship vanished in 2159. It was the first to attempt colonization beyond the frontier. And now, 2 centuries later, her captain's voice still cried out for help. Vega's console beeped urgently. "Commander, I've got visual. The signal source is just ahead." Through the viewport, the darkness parted to reveal a massive silhouette. A broken, lifeless ship drifted in the void, its hull torn apart, yet impossibly preserved by the strange energies of Sector 9. It was the Pioneer. Aiden rose slowly from his chair. "Prepare a boarding team. We're going in."
The Silent Horizon, Part 3. The airlock hissed open, and the boarding team floated into the eerie emptiness surrounding the Pioneer. Space debris spun lazily around the ship, catching the light of distant stars like shards of shattered glass. "Looks intact," Lieutenant Vega murmured, her voice trembling slightly. "For a ship that's been adrift for 2 centuries, this is impossible." Aiden's boots clicked against the hull as they entered the Pioneer. The interior was dark, the corridors lined with frost-like crystalline growths that shimmered in the dim light of their suits. The ship's systems were dead, but the faint pulse of the distress signal guided them forward deeper into the vessel. Dr. Kieran scanned the area with his handheld device. Life signs. There's one. Or something left behind? They reached the bridge. Panels were cracked, screens flickered with static, and in the captain's chair sat a figure frozen in time, or something close to it. "Captain Mara Ellison?" Aiden whispered. His voice echoed strangely in the dead chamber. The figure stirred, but it was not alive in any conventional sense. Her skin shimmered like the frost crystals, and her eyes reflected the void outside. When she spoke, her voice was both familiar and alien, layered over itself in impossible harmony. "Time, it doesn't move here. Not like you think. You shouldn't have come." Suddenly, the Odyssey shook violently. Orion's voice rang out. "Commander, energy readings off the charts. Sector 9 is reacting to your presence." Dr. Kieran's device went wild, scanning waves of temporal distortion emanating from the Pioneer. This isn't just a ghost ship. It's a temporal anchor. Whoever, or whatever, is trapped here is bending time around it. We could get stuck. Or worse. Aiden clenched his fists. "We came for answers. We're not leaving until we get them." The frozen figure's eyes flared, and the bridge was flooded with a blinding light. The pulse of the distress signal became a deafening roar in their minds, and for a brief moment, reality itself seemed to fracture. And in that fracture, the crew glimpsed something impossible, a vision of the Pioneer's final moments and the horror that had consumed it. The Silent Horizon, Part 4. The vision faded as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving the bridge in cold, eerie silence. The crew of the Odyssey struggled to regain their bearings. Dr. Kieran shook his head, pale and trembling. It wasn't just time distortion. Something else was controlling it. The Pioneer wasn't destroyed by accident. Whatever trapped them, it's intelligent. Lieutenant Vega's voice was tight. "We need to leave, now! This place is alive!" Aiden looked at the shimmering figure of Mara Ellison. Her eyes now held a strange pleading. "You must not leave, or time will swallow all of you." Orion's calm yet urgent voice cut through. "Commander, the temporal distortions are increasing exponentially. Hull integrity may fail in under 20 minutes. Immediate departure recommended." Aiden gritted his teeth. "We can't just leave without understanding this. We need to know what caused the Pioneer to vanish." Suddenly, the corridor behind them convulsed. The walls twisted as if they were liquid, stretching into impossible angles. Shadows moved independently of the crew's positions. The ship wasn't just abandoned, it was a living trap, feeding on their perception of time and space. Dr. Kieran's scanner beeped frantically. "Look at this! There's a presence inside the Pioneer. Something older than the ship. Older than us. Something that survived in the folds of time." The figure of Captain Ellison rose fully now, her body shifting, oscillating between human and something else. "You shouldn't have come. Now it will follow you." Vega gripped her console, her knuckles white. "What do? We can't fight it. We can't reason with it." Aiden clenched his jaw, staring out the viewport at the endless void. "We adapt. We survive. Plot a return trajectory, Orion. We'll use the ship's temporal shielding to break free, but we need a plan to neutralize whatever is living inside that vessel." The shadows twisted and converged, forming shapes that defied geometry. Time itself seemed to ripple. The crew realized the horrifying truth. Escaping Sector 9 might mean leaving part of themselves behind, or losing everything. Aiden took a deep breath. This isn't just exploration anymore. This is survival. And we are the only ones who can write the end of this story. The Odyssey shuddered as the first wave of temporal energy struck. The countdown to their fate had begun.
The Silent Horizon, Part 5. The Odyssey trembled violently as the first wave of temporal energy crashed against its hull. The ship's temporal shielding flared to life, golden arcs of energy rippling across the surface, protecting them from the strange, reality-bending forces radiating from the Pioneer. Aiden barked orders. Vega, stabilize the shields. Kieran, monitor the temporal fluctuations. Orion, plot the fastest escape trajectory out of Sector 9. Lieutenant Vega's fingers flew over her console. Shields at maximum output, but it's fighting back. The closer we get to the Pioneer, the stronger the distortions become. It's like the ship is alive and aware of our every move. Dr. Kieran's scanner emitted a series of frantic beeps. It's absorbing our presence. The longer we stay here, the more it entwines with our minds. I can feel memories, fragments of my own past slipping away. Aiden clenched his fists, staring at the shimmering figure of Captain Ellison. We don't have time to debate ethics or curiosity. Whatever she became, whatever that thing is, we survive by leaving it behind. Ellison's form flickered, her voice layered with static and despair. You cannot leave! You are part of it now! The shadows around the Pioneer began reaching outward, twisting into tendrils that seemed to claw at the Odyssey. Vega's voice trembled as she shouted, They're coming through the hole! We can't hold them off much longer! Aiden gritted his teeth. Orion, initiate temporal jump sequence. Full power. Now! The AI responded calmly, almost eerily. Coordinates locked. Temporal jump in 3, 2, 1. A blinding surge of energy enveloped the Odyssey. The stars outside stretched into long lines, then blurred into white. Time fractured around them, folding like paper. For a moment, everything was gone. Space, light, sound, and even thought itself. Then slowly, the crew emerged on the other side of Sector 9. The Pioneer was gone from view, and the shadows receded into the void. But the cost was clear. The ship's systems were damaged, some memories of the crew had fragmented, and lingering echoes of the Pioneer haunted the corridors of the Odyssey. Aiden leaned against the console, exhausted, but alive. We survived, but Sector 9, it didn't let us leave untouched. Dr. Kieran's voice was quiet, almost a whisper. Did we leave something behind, or did it follow us? Through the viewport, the stars returned to their usual calm, indifferent glow. But in the depths of the universe, some mysteries refused to remain buried. And somewhere, in the folds of time, the silent signal of the Pioneer waited for the next explorers.
The Silent Horizon. Conclusion. The Odyssey emerged from Sector 9, battered but alive, carrying the scars of their encounter. Though they had escaped the temporal nightmare of the Pioneer, the crew knew the universe was far stranger and more dangerous than they had imagined. Captain Aiden Cross looked out at the stars, a heavy silence settling over the bridge. Some questions had been answered, others had only deepened the mystery. The shadows of Sector 9 might have stayed behind, but the experience left a mark on their minds, a reminder that some corners of space were never meant to be explored. In the void, a faint pulse echoed, silent to the untrained ear, yet a chilling reminder that some signals never die. Somewhere deep in the folds of time, the story of the Pioneer waited to claim its next chapter. The universe was vast, indifferent, and alive. The end.